it looks like I'm doing really great on the external level, it won't last if that alignment is not happening internally. So I really would like you to just take a moment and ponder that thought and let it kind of settle in, because everything that we're seeking, truly what is going to make us feel a sense of peace, the peace that surpasses all understanding, is going to happen internally. And as a healer, that is exactly what I'm on this planet to do. When I was reading the story on Facebook about the shaman who was in the mental hospital, and he saw all these people that really were having a spiritual crisis, and that they were sensing the spiritual realms, and they were in the third dimensional realm, the physical realm, and they didn't know what to do with it. So they were feeling kind of out of balance. That's exactly the kind of clients that I can help, and not that extreme. It doesn't have to be to the point where you're in a mental hospital, of course not. But I've had clients that are very intensely at a spiritual crisis level, and then clients that are just, needing to step into their power, to be courageous, to stop thinking they need to ask their spouse for permission to be what they want to be, to stop tolerating abuse from their children or from people around them and think they have no power. Each of us has to heal these things, and then we're going to shine. We're going to have an amazing, powerful life. But as long as each of us tolerate all these little things each day, day in, day out, we tolerate, we enable, we just go and cater to the ones that are out of alignment left and right, how is it that you ever expect anything's going to change on a bigger picture level? We have to heal ourselves. And that's what I have dedicated my life to assisting with as an intuitive healer, is to help clients tune into that soul level shadow, what's going on deep down, the shadow energies, the things they don't want anyone to know. If they're courageous and they allow me to look in, I tune in and I find that stuff. Sometimes things they know about, sometimes things they're not even conscious about. But it helps them. And I've seen clients that have turned their lives completely 360 around. Turned their life upside down from one level of being a victim, feeling they had no power, being confused, being addicted to drugs, being, what am I going to try to say? Being abused, and then changing that to where they come completely full circle. They're living in their power. They're living out their purpose. They're living with integrity. They're excited. They're happy because they're not living in shadow anymore. They're not denying or suppressing their true soul's mission. So I really encourage any of you listening and any of you that have been summoned in to connect with me, that you felt for a while that you need to heal some things. You felt for a while, I really would like to talk to somebody, but I don't know. It's scary and I don't know who I can trust. I encourage you to trust why you've been summoned to me, and to really connect and to take that step into your power, because I promise you, each of you that does your healing work, it's going to not only benefit your own life, but it's going to benefit everyone's life around you. If I am living with a loved one who does not live in their power, and they constantly let others manipulate them, and they just live superficial, shallow existence, it's going to affect their entire life, because they've got that going on inside of them at a cellular level. If I lived with a loved one who is brave and clears that, they come into their power, they face things head on, they speak their truth, they can feel quickly when someone's trying to manipulate them, and so they say something about it. I observe that human shift everything, and their life starts to take off in a new direction. There's beauty and power and purpose there, and abundance and good, amazing things start to flow in for a soul that's in alignment. So I say this with the highest intention and the most loving intention to encourage each of you to really seek that alignment and to claim it, because I hear too often excuses. Too much do I hear excuses. The only and most important thing in each of our lives is our alignment, period. If we're saying, oh, Tanya, I would love to heal my stuff, but I've got a lot of work to do. I'm really busy. I don't have enough time. But your health is slipping and your body's getting more stressed and your relationship's getting more and more out of control. And yet you just go work, work, work. I see exactly why a human is doing that. They're doing that because they don't want to deal with something. They're doing it because they're afraid and they're overwhelmed. However, I've observed that pattern and that direction never helps resolve the situation. It never truly heals or addresses it. It's just avoiding it. It's an avoidance tactic. I see humans that will say, I don't have enough money to help to come and see you, Tanya, but then I see that they're out partying and getting drunk, and I see that they're choosing to, buy drugs, and they can pay for their drugs, but they can't pay a healer to get their clearing. So you see where I'm coming from? I'm just going to speak it today because it's time to stop with the excuses. It's time to stop with the BS. Because if we want to help ourselves, we have to help ourselves. If we want to live in our power, if we want to stop living in a poverty consciousness, we have to actually go spend time around those who are in an abundance consciousness. If we want to stop with feeling sick and having illness and suffering, we need to spend time with those who understand how to swiftly heal and to come into our alignment. And it's really important that each of us value that. Because if we don't, as a society, value our own healing, if we don't value integrity, if we don't value alignment, then I can tell you exactly where the direction of our society is going. And it doesn't look good. However, if we see that, wow, we've really created a lot of chaos, a lot of destruction on our planet, a lot of pain and suffering in our families and in our bodies and our own personal lives, and it's not fun, and I'm ready for a different way, okay, let's connect and let's start talking about that. Let's start pointing ourselves in a direction of that conscious shift and face whatever we need to face in ourselves and do our healing work. No one on this planet could have done my healing work for me. And I did make excuses. So I have compassion and understanding of why each of you are doing it. However, when I did the work and when I stepped in and I listened to spirit more than the insane world, everything started to change. And some of you out there are having these amazing spiritual experiences happening because you're awakening, you're shifting, you're starting to remember more of the truth of who you are. And if you're working with someone that you trust that's of a high vibration that can tune in and assist you, it will be so amazing and powerful for you in supporting your journey than if you are on your own and you think that you're crazy because the people that you're around don't know what to do with the experiences you're having, so they're calling you crazy. So it's really important that each of us start to look at our own personal lives. Like, pay attention. If I'm hanging out with these people and they're shaming me every day and they're insulting me, they're abusing me mentally, physically, or emotionally, that's like I'm getting poison poured on me every day. Poison's poured inside of me, and every day I feel weaker and weaker, and I doubt myself, and I start to feel like I'm crazy. My son literally told me, Mom, whenever some of our family were going off on him and saying that he was crazy, he's like, whenever they say that, it's like if you hear that long enough, you start to believe that. And I told him, I understand, baby, what you're talking about, and that's why you need to stay away from their vibration for a while. You need to come into your own power. You need to heal, and then you'll be able to handle it. But sometimes we need that period where we get away from our family. And I love my family, but there's times in my journey that I knew in my soul I had to get away from them in order to heal myself. I had to remove myself from toxic behavior in order to get into my place of power, because being around it just triggered so much pain and I couldn't handle it. So every soul needs to know what it can handle and tolerate. And if you're feeling like being around lower vibration is taking you down and you're sinking in the swamps, you've got to get away. You've got to take yourself to a space where you can really heal and come into the light and come into your power. And it may mean that you go stay with a friend for a while, or you go on a vacation if you can do that, or you move into a different environment. Maybe you're living with roommates that are toxic, or you're working in a job that's really toxic. All of that is an illusion. All of it can change, and all of it must change if you really want to thrive. So each of us needs to start paying attention to, what we tolerate. I remember talking to a woman. I had gone to work at the YMCA, and it was a toxic environment. This certain individual that ended up getting fired later from the messages that I did bring, but I was there for a short time as a messenger, and Spirit told me, you're here as a messenger, just speak the truth. And so I did, and I talked to the woman who had worked there before, and this was after I had left the job, and I told them all the messages, and she was just like, Tanya, I wish I could have been as courageous as you, and actually spoke the truth, because when I left, I went through that, and I tolerated that man's abuse for a year, and then I just left because I couldn't take it anymore, and I told them I had other opportunities, and I lied. And I told her, you know what? It is never too late to speak the truth, and that this truth being delivered at this time could be very powerful. And she spoke that truth, and I had spoke my truth, and they ended up firing that man, and there was a karmic consequence for what he was doing to others. But do you see how this was a joint effort? There was two humans that had to really come into their power and claim their courage and face this, rather than just tolerate it, rather than pretend it didn't happen and just go on and get into a new job and pretend nothing happened. This is what each of us has to do. And if every one of us on the planet, every human listening, were doing that, there would be a lot less violence. There'd be a lot less abuse. There'd be a lot less corruption. But most of us, I can tell by looking at society, most of us are not doing anything about it. We do nothing. We just pretend we didn't notice that. We see violence on a train, and we pretend we don't notice because it's not our situation. We see a mother abusing a child, and we don't say anything or check in to see if that child's okay because it's not our kid, it's not our business. We are at a job and we see someone being treated poorly or even sexually being harassed, and we say nothing because we don't want to lose our job. See where I'm coming from? All of that matters. Every single person that ignores alignment and pretends they don't see something, you're contributing to the problem. And we can pretend we're not, but we really are. Every one of us that just, accepts the lower situations and we say nothing, that's part of the issue. We have to start speaking our truth. And it may take a while. It may take some time on the physical plane to actually shift. But if each of us are living in this way, if each of us are following our alignment, and we're speaking with truth, and we're living in honor and integrity, this used to actually be important to some of us. And it's really, at a soul level, so important to us. It's always been important to us. But in a societal way, integrity and corruption and abuse, it's just like normal now. And that's what's really disturbing is, like, I'll listen to songs on the radio, and they're the top 40 songs, and so many of them are singing about the abuse and the problems and the toxic, abusive relationships. And we sing about it as if it's fun and it's normal and it's okay. And this is what we, as our Western culture, we have a lot to heal. And we can just pretend we don't. And I'm not saying get angry and go start a blog and just be pissed off, because that's not going to really help. We need to remember laws of attraction. Yes. And if we remember the laws of attraction, we speak our truth, we face what comes to us in our now, and we keep our focus positively held on a future horizon of alignment. And we keep taking steps every day in that direction until we experience a shift in a physical way. And so that's what we each need to keep in mind. If we're in a domestic violence group and we're just talking about how much we hate people that abuse, we're doing nothing to help heal the situation. In fact, we are contributing to the problem. If we're hating, if we're shaming, it's not helping anything. So if we want to start shifting these things, we do need to express our truth. We need to express how that upset us and how it hurt. We need to have our feelings acknowledged. And we need to also then focus on where we're going. What is it we want to achieve because of where we've been? I've been through a lot of abuse, and I'm not going to sit up here and be a victim and talk about it in a poor me way, because it will do nothing to help anything. However, going through those experiences, I can speak of what I've learned, what I've experienced, what I understand, and where it is I would like to go, where it is I would like humanity and